Hello to a new episode of the Laces of Ireland 2023 series. My guest today is Theresa Kelly, a lace artist and teacher. And welcome, Theresa. I would like to start with a question about how did you start making lace? What brought you to lace?
I always say the lace found me rather than me finding the lace, because it fitted my lifestyle very much so at the time. I was at home with two children in County Monaghan, and it was the only night class I was interested in was lace. I had done at college a short course on creative embroidery as part of the principles of teaching art, and I went there and had the most amazing teacher, Kathleen Flanagan. She was truly brilliant, herself an RDS gold medal winner. She was a very giving lace maker. Do you know, she shared all her ideas and all her times. Yeah. So I was very lucky, very fortunate.
Fantastic. And you are dedicated to Carrick-Macross lace, and you are one of the people reinventing the traditions and creating new forms of lace, I'd say. Can you talk a bit about the techniques and the materials that you added to it? Because we now know how Carrick-Macross lace is made in principle, but you're doing very special things.
When with Carrick-Macross lace, when I came upon it, 30 years ago, there were all joy lace that were being made, with the harps, the shamrocks, the double swans, very, very limited designs and motifs. And if you think of the history of lace, lace was always shown with the most exotic and expensive jewels and fabrics. So it was originally, it was to be worn. It was always to be worn, and it was always worn with, with other fabrics, other objects, and they were as important as the lace. And they had kind of, you wouldn't say, particularly gold. Lace was worth more than gold, so you couldn't say that the lace outshone the gold or the gold outshone the lace. They had equal importance. Then I just started thinking about, where I wanted to go with the lace and what I wanted to do and how I wanted to express myself. So I felt that by adding, objects supporting the lace to begin with, mounting the lace in different color backgrounds, it added to the idea. And now the lace is as important as a backdrop, and it's very much so a conversation between the lace and what I presented with. Does that kind of make sense?
Absolutely. I'll bring in some of the samples of work that you sent us. So can you tell us a little bit about exhibitions you participated in, awards, because you're a world famous artist?
But before that, I'll just talk a little bit about Kathleen Flanagan first. Okay, then. So like with all laces, you have to learn the techniques. You know what I mean? And I kept asking Kathleen to bring in more patterns that I could learn about. So the first two photographs we have there are of a traditional pattern of a wedding veil, because you can actually see the kind of horseshoe shape. And I adapted that for a bolero, actually. It's a bolero. So there's a back of it and the top of the sleeves that you can actually see on it there. And it was on that piece, because it was an old piece, that I learned all my techniques. My sewing wasn't great, so we'll not look at how far apart the stitches were or anything like that. But from there, I actually learned all the techniques and the different filling in stitches. So it's very much so learning that. You can't do any contemporary work until you learn the techniques. Well, that's the way I feel about it. And then the third shawl there is actually a slide of a shawl I made. I made some shawls, and that's using the techniques that Kathleen Flanagan taught me. Very much so looking at traditional designs, because there's a little acorn in the center of that. there was a book called Laces of Ireland that had traditional, no, not patterns, photographs, and had a Victorian dress, and the center of that is just borrowed from there. So I would borrow techniques or what I would see, and that's the lovely thing about going to the museums, and museums keeping their lace on display, not having it stuck away.
Yeah,
Not
that's one
having
of
it
the
stuck
problems.
away in drawers, very much so on display. So that's the beginning. That, you know, and I'm a commercial artist. You know, I sell my soul to the devil. Well, the devil already owns it, but the shawls took 6 months work to make, and I just, you could, you know, 6 months work, I'd expect 6 months wages, even minimum wages, and I couldn't get that. So I started doing smaller pieces that were selling. I was involved in the Carrick Macross Lace Co-op at the time, treasurer of it there, and all the time doing my own designs and trying to promote the idea that that lace needs not to change, but lace needs to find a new audience by bringing in contemporary ideas and contemporary motifs and there, yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. I know you're well known and internationally renowned, and you've received awards, and you've participated in international exhibitions. I've seen your exhibits on the Lace Museum in California on their website, where you're featured as a lace artist. So can you tell us a little bit about the awards and exhibitions that you are mostly proud of?
Well, I think net gets you very far. just going, and Martha Hughes was invited with the English Lace Guild to go to Turku in Finland to exhibit with the English Lace Guild. And she asked me, would I be interested in going? And I said, definitely, Martha, but if we're going to an international fair, we bring our own Carrick Macross lace. You know, we just bring it. And we say that we will accept it and we'll exhibit. Now, we were so green at the time. We didn't realize it was a whole process to go through, you know what I mean, and do that. But I just felt it was a shame that we could bring the lace over. That's the lovely thing about lace, is it's light, it's small, you can carry loads in your pocket. So we put up our display, and we had our display, and people were allowed to vote on the piece they like. And Foxgloves and Ferns, you know, the first 3D piece was voted there as a piece of the show. So I was thrilled. Wasn't expecting it at all, but I had been, the 3D lace we were having with Clonus lace, Carrick Macross lace, and the Monaghan Museum, which have a very fine collection of Carrick Macross lace and Clonus lace, Monaghan laces. We were having an exhibition, very fine collection, and for that I created my first 3D piece, the Foxgloves and Ferns, you know what I mean, which was really, really important there. The RDS was the most important outlet for my lace as a young lace maker, or as a new lace maker, because the old RDS craft competition there was an absolute godsend, you know, because it was for that I always made my first series of a new direction. You know, anytime I changed direction, it went straight up to the RDS. Might have won, it won awards, it won a couple of awards up there. It mightn't have won, but they always got the first. They never got the finish. and that was truly important. I miss it so much. I loved it that there was an equality in the kind of sense. Everybody put their work in and they all had the same chance, be you amateur, whether you be a full-time, whether you know what I mean, you had the chance to exhibit up there. So I missed that desperately.
We all miss it very
much. And then I'm coming on to now how I got in the Lace Museum during lockdown. Okay, I posted some of my work on Instagram, okay, and it must have got some feed in America, but the textile community or the textile council in America, really big group, shared my work, and I was gobsmacked. Do you know what I mean? I was thrilled. I was delighted. The Textile Council of America, you couldn't get bigger than that. But I didn't know any better. I didn't even thank them. I just was delighted and kept it quiet. And then a couple of days later, the Lace Museum saw my work, and I happened. It was just after the first lockdown, you know what I mean? We were allowed to talk to people and visit people. And myself and my daughter and her friend were out walking, and I said, "You wouldn't believe who shared my work." And they said, I said, the museum, the Lace Museum in America. And the girl said, "Thank them, just thank them, say thanks a million for sharing, you know." And so I thanked them. And it was from there, you know what I mean, that we kind of built up a relationship, that I started giving lessons, and then they put out that amazing exhibition of mine, you know, which I was delighted for, a Zoom exhibition there. Yeah.
They are a fantastic group
Does that
of
answer your
volunteers,
question?
and they were a godsend during the
Yeah,
pandemic
yeah.
because there were online lace classes. So they were
Well, no more than what you're doing at the moment, no more than what you yourselves are doing for Irish lace. It is really exciting. You know what I mean? It's amazing what you're doing. Yeah.
well.
Interviews like
I
this.
think we
Brilliant.
need to get to know each other, and we need to
Yeah.
be known internationally, because I think there's a huge potential for tourism into Ireland. So people don't know where to go to see lace. It's on exhibit, as you say, it's in drawers and boxes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
have to know where
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
go and when to go. So that's the important thing. Now, I'd like
Yes.
to
Yes.
ask you, we spoke about the Lace Museum. Are you involved in any national or international lace groups?
I fly solo, but I have found, again during lockdown, the hashtag Lace Challenge 2001, 2002. I have a slide there with Jane Fallon. That brought me in contact with what they call tribe, you know what I mean? And they're a group of contemporary, or lace makers, not contemporary, they're a group of lace makers from all over the world, you know. And every January they have that lace challenge. And I think people should just join it, because it's what gets your name out. You know what I mean? That has got my name out by just joining that. And they give prompts every January. Jane gives prompts every January. You don't have to do every week. You don't have to do every day for January, but just a couple of days, because that is lace people from all over the world there. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, I know about the Lace Challenge, and yes, people should participate more to that. Now, I'd like to ask you, what are you working on at the moment? So what kind of change of direction is coming?
Well, that's why I love working towards exhibitions, because they make you look and rethink. For the Patrick Kavanagh weekend, I am doing work based on his poetry, on his prose. You know what I mean? More or less, The Great Hunger. And so I'm busy doing work on that at the moment. You know, very busy doing work on that. Last year I was working with the Northern Ireland Jeweler Association, and they were doing a series of work based around linen making and the fabrics used, and that's when I started. You know, you would see that long piece there. So I'm all the time busy working towards new projects, or trying to find new projects. So I have work down in Ballydehob at the moment, in the studios down there. The Fibre is our Being That exhibition. And then there's another exhibition coming up in Mayo, a biannual exhibition there, an art centre up there. So that's what I'm doing. I'm all the time twiddling with my fingers. Yeah.
That's great. And if people are looking for you online, where can they find you?
They will find me on Instagram, Theresa Kelly Lace, and then they find me on Facebook, Theresa Kelly Lace. Okay, then both of them there. Okay, then. All right.
Easy to remember.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you very much, Theresa. Anything else you'd like to add?
Oh, I just want to say thank you for the interview. It's brilliant. Anything to do with lace is fantastic. It takes so much of your time. I do know how much time you have to give up for it. So thank you. That's all I've got to say.
Thank you very much. Bye
Okay,
now.
then. Bye.